environment, water management, water quality, farming, history and culture, public events, recreation, Delta food, and the arts. Tune in to Delta Flows on KXVS, the voice of Stockton, streaming live on Facebook and YouTube at KXVS Radio.
Do you want to relive the golden days of Stockton? Join Nate Knott on Stockton Alive every first and third Monday at 6 p.m. Tune into thevoiceofstockton.org.
KXVS on 92.1 coming soon. KXVS.
The views and opinions expressed in the following program do not necessarily reflect those of KXVS, the voice of Stockton, or its parents, affiliates, management, and staff.
KXVS, the voice of Stockton. That's right, it's time for the Tom Patti reality show with your host, Tom Patti.
Thank you, Governor Don, and Happy New Year's to you, your family, of course, and to everyone out there. I am Tom Patti, one of your county supervisors, and this is the Tom Patti reality show where we discuss everything that's local, political, current, and real. Thank you all for joining us today. Of course, in studio with me is Ted Lehrer, my trusty sidekick, almost like Batman and Robin. Of course, me being Batman. So welcome New Year's, Ted, and every year's off to a good start, right?
So far, so good.
No arrests, no burglaries, nothing bad to report?
Nothing that I've been caught for yet, although the sheriff was here, and if the governor will tell you, I somehow was not here on that particular day. And it wasn't because I was trying to avoid their controversy involving that department. It's, who knows, maybe it's...
You didn't lose any of your shopping carts or anything?
Not this week. That was last week at the shopping malls.
Okay, good. Well, and also in guest, one of my in-studio guests is my daughter, Miss Pressley Elise. So Pressley, welcome to our radio show.
Thank you.
I'm so glad to have you here. Now you're here because how come you're not in school this week?
Because it is our Christmas vacation and we get 2 weeks off.
Oh, that's right. I was wondering. I thought you weren't playing hooky, right?
No.
Okay, good. So then it's okay that you're here in the middle of the day.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Well, Pressley, you and we're just going to do this fun little show, I thought, since you're off of school and I couldn't afford a babysitter. I thought to bring you along. So I was thinking that actually I'd just have you as my guest on the show and we have a little fun. So you put together a series of questions and I put together some questions for each other. Yes. So we're going to kind of just ease into this new year and kind of talk about some different things and get to know, I can answer some questions for you and you can answer some things for me. How's that sound?
That sounds awesome.
So we were talking about maybe like 1 or 2 questions or 3 questions and then switch sides. What do you think?
I think 2 would be good.
2 questions and then switch and then the other person asks 2 questions?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, starting off, sometimes in the past you've come on radio shows and you've sing.
Yes.
And you've done from God Bless America to songs that you made up, but you're really not prepared for singing, right?
No, not today.
You want to do more intense or serious interview?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I'm not.
So tell us a little bit about yourself first before we get into this interview.
I'm 8 years old. I go to Enunciation School.
Sorry, wait, hang on a second. Did you say you ate some gold?
No.
What did you say?
I said I was 8 years old.
Oh, 8 years old.
Yes.
Okay, got it. I got it.
And I go to Enunciation School.
Yes.
And I'm in 3rd grade.
Yes, you are. And gosh, how's that going for you?
It's good. We're learning division and times tables, a little bit of algebra. So I like 3rd grade.
Yeah, and you're reading, I know we had quite a high level. You're reading at like 4th or 5th grade, or 5th grade level, I think, right? 5th or 6th, so yeah, you're doing pretty darn good there. And you're already, with Christmas break, I believe you guys are halfway through your school year.
Yes.
You get out in May, like in 6 more months. Wow. So, well, let's get into a couple questions. Do you want to go first? Do you have a couple questions for me, or should I start off?
You can start off.
Okay, so I'm going to ask the big one. The big one that everybody always asks a young lady or a young boy. What do you want to be when you grow up?
Well, I have a couple goals I'm going for. I want to be a doctor, and I'm thinking about a veterinarian.
Okay.
Or I want to be a lawyer.
Okay, a doctor or a lawyer.
Yes.
Or a veterinarian.
Okay, those are all good careers to have. So it takes. What do you need to do in order to get any of those careers?
Work hard. I need to study for being a doctor. I recently saw a doctor, and I told him I would like to be one. And he said I need to learn my science, a lot of math, and I go to school when I'm in college for doctors, and I really want to do that.
Well, that's good. So school, you mentioned the key word there, school.
Yes.
It's all about education and getting that, like science and math, those are all tough subjects. But if you put in that hard work now, it's easy later. So good. I like that. Okay. So that's a great answer. I appreciate that. So here's another one, totally shifting gears. All right. Now, wanting to be a doctor, a lawyer, or a veterinarian, that's all good. But if you could have one superpower, what would it be and why?
One superpower?
Yes, only one. Okay. One superpower.
Oh, that's a hard question for me. I think healing.
Healing?
If I could heal anybody, I would have that power.
Well, then you are set to be a doctor, because doctors are healers, that's for sure. So mine would be invisible, to be invisible. That would be the best. You can be a superhero. You can save things and save people and do all sorts of things and just be the invisible guy that gets it done. So that would be kind of cool. Okay, so that's my first two questions. What questions do you have for me?
Did your parents give you an allowance, and how much was it?
Well, no. My parents did not give me allowance, but they did give me an opportunity to earn money. So I was working since I was a little boy, because my dad was starting a company and I was pretty much his sidekick, and I helped out. So we started a company when I was just breaking all the child labor laws and doing work with your Poppy. So my allowance was the ability for me to work and earn money and save money for like my first car, which was going to be like the really first big purchase. So when I was 16, I had money saved up because I was working since I was like 9 years old, 10 years old. All those summer months I would just work, and then weekends I would help out.
That's good.
Yeah, so that was my opportunity to earn money.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have another question for you.
Okay.
Where was the first place you lived away from home? Do you have any crazy roommate stories?
Well, the first place I lived away from home was when I left home after high school to be a boxer. So I lived up in Catskill, New York, with that legendary trainer named Cus D'Amato, and my roommate was Mike Tyson, 14 years old, and then there was other fighters that came and went, and so we had everything, all sorts of fun, from water wars, just kind of think about a bunch of teenagers getting together and laughing and joking and playing games and jokes on each other. So we would have water balloon fights in the middle of winter, believe it or not. We would do play tricks on each other all the time. But we were also there focused on a career and a goal. So we didn't really get sidetracked in a lot of antics, because Cus was pretty strict. We didn't have a lot of opportunity to go far and wide. But there were some funny stories. There were some French fry fights at Burger King, or little things. But then true to our, Cus would always say, develop character. So we had this big French fry fight one time with a bunch of kids from high school, and French fries everywhere. But before the manager could get upset, we all grabbed brooms and swept it all up and cleaned up, so that it wasn't. So we made a mess, but we cleaned it up, and the manager was super happy that we were having fun and we were responsible afterwards.
Well, that's good. I would imagine a manager being still very mad for that.
Well, he wasn't happy. It wasn't optimal use of his French fries, but we were teenagers. We had a little bit of fun, a little food fight, but we cleaned it up, so that was okay.
Yeah.
We weren't too bad. Okay, so I have a question for you then.
Okay.
If you had 3 wishes, what would they be?
Okay. First, peace on Earth.
Okay.
I think for everybody to be kind to each other.
That's a good one.
And for people to treat animals nicely, because yesterday we saved an animal in the middle of the road, and I just feel really good for doing that. And whenever there is an animal on the road and an animal that's not cared for, you have to try to help it. So
yes.
I would say those would be my 3 wishes.
I like all 3 of those. Those are pretty good. I really appreciate it. And I know yesterday you were very caring about that little dog that wandered around, and you saved him. So that was really good. So I appreciate that. How about, here's a good one, back to school. What are the best and worst things about school?
The best thing is that I can learn and I can grow up to be a doctor, and I get education for it.
Mm-hmm.
And the bad thing is you don't always like what you're doing, but you have to do it.
But you do it anyways.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good attitude. I'm going to throw in another one real quick. Name one thing that scares you.
Can I name two?
Sure.
Okay. So first, spiders. Of course, spiders.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Screaming maniac spiders phobia.
The spiders can be deadly.
Spiders, yeah, they're
They're no joke.
And then also, when I see animals in the road, I get scared for
you
them.
do. Yeah.
Especially when cars are going by.
Well, it's scary because that little animal's lost, obviously. It doesn't belong there, and something bad can happen.
Yes, and a lot of times those animals are going in the garbage for food. They just can't really survive out there.
That's very true. That's very true. Okay, what do you got for me?
Okay, so if you had to go back to high school, what would you do differently?
Well, what would I do differently? I would study a lot more.
You would?
Yeah. When I went to high school, so I'll be honest, when I went to high school, there was a lot of turmoil, and there was a lot of gang fights and things going on. So, so it wasn't really. I got kind of caught up in fighting and defending and being involved in all of this unrest.
Yeah.
And there were some kids that just paid no attention, and all they did was work and study and didn't get involved in any of that. I sure wish I would have done more of that.
Okay.
So that was probably the main thing.
Yeah.
If you had done more of that, you'd be a success today.
Probably. It probably wouldn't have led me to boxing. So all the things that happen, I guess they happen for a reason.
And then I have another question for you.
Yes.
What do you love most about your own dad?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. My dad has been a phenomenal role model for me. And I think more than anything, he showed such a fantastic, there's so many qualities to give about my dad, but on the top of the list would be his work ethic, the fact that he just worked so hard to provide for his family during struggling times, and to watch him start and build a business from ground zero up, and to just see him persevere in spite of the odds being against him. That's one of the things I really take away and admire so much about my dad. And in addition to that, his being Italian, it's always hugs and kisses and a warm embrace, and so he always provided for his family, and he was always giving love and affection and a warm welcome to friends and new acquaintances.
And to have a grandpa, like you said, you gave all of those qualities.
Yeah.
Those are all of the qualities I'm learning about my grandpa now.
Mm-hmm.
Your dad, he's a great grandpa, the best grandpa in the world. I could say that. He's
definitely the best grandpa for you in the world.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a pretty special guy, and so I really appreciate every minute I have. And of course, couldn't leave out mom, my mom.
Yes,
she's special as well. So I'm going to have your Poppy, my dad, on as a guest in the next couple weeks. So he's going to be on the show and tell some great old stories. He's got many of them.
Yes, he does.
Okay.
That actually may be a 2-hour episode. No, I'm being very real. He does indeed have a lot of stories.
He's got a lot of stories. Okay, your turn in mind for questions.
I think that is your turn.
Okay, what's heaven look like? What does heaven look like?
Well, I've of course never seen it, but I think that it's on a cloud, way above in the sky.
Okay.
And I think that there's golden gates.
Okay.
And when you pass away, you come up and an angel will ask you, what have you done good in your life?
Mm-hmm.
And then if you give a good answer, because if you haven't really done anything good in your life, then what's the point of going to heaven? You're good in heaven.
Right.
So I think God would always give you a chance.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't really take that chance, then I think you'd go down below probably.
Okay, so when you get inside, though, get through those gates, if you've had a good life, What's going to be inside?
Well, you've told me that there will be chocolate, the best chocolate in the world.
Yep.
And the purest water.
Oh, it is good water.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it? Just chocolate and water?
Well, and of course you will be with your family.
Right.
And if you have any pets.
Mm-hmm.
So I think heaven is a wonderful place.
I think it'd be a great place. What about like a Disneyland or rides and stuff?
Well, I'm not too sure about that.
Okay. Well, I think there's going to be like a big Disneyland up there so we can ride rides and have fun.
Excellent chocolate, pure water. It sounds like Switzerland.
But they're cold there. Okay, so then how about, what's the most amazing thing you've ever heard?
I've ever heard?
Yes.
That I have a brother. When my mom first told me that I'm going to have a little brother.
Wow, that must have meant a lot to you because all that new level of responsibility. And
it did.
Yeah, and she told you that you would have a brother.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's exciting. That's fun. And how old is your brother Luke?
Yes.
How old?
He's 4 years old.
So, wow, 4 years ago. You remember being that super excited. That's great. I know you're a good big sister. Okay, what have you got for me?
I think name all the jobs you've had and which was your favorite.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'll rattle off as quick as I can and try to get to get through that answer. So I've started first and foremost, I was a floor sweeper. So Poppy, when he was building business and out working, I was sweeping floors. Then I learned how to work sheet metal and cut plastic on bandsaws and lay out sign faces. So I did sign construction. That was the business he started. Then I learned how to operate cranes. I was also digging ditches, installing signs. So dig ditches or do whatever work that needs to be for installing the signs, from planting posts to mounting on sides of walls or big pole signs. Dishwasher. When I was in boxing camp, I washed dishes for $20 a night. 6 hours of washing dishes, and it was $20 cash a night. So that was that job. Then, gosh, I've worked as an actor. I've made money as a writer in the entertainment business. I worked security and ran nightclubs in different places, everything from House of Blues to other big clubs that it would open, come and go. One was called Sanctuary. I ran that for a while. There's just a lot of different things I've done, whether when I lived in New York or LA, and then as a business owner. So I enjoy owning my business and those responsibilities. And then lastly, which is truly the greatest job I could ever imagine, I'm privileged to have, is being county supervisor. So there's a whole lot wrapped up right there. And all those experiences that I have in the private sector and all the different things I've done. And I've been in internet startup businesses. There was a company called IM.com, and it was pretty much the precursor to Facebook or the MySpace before that. We were along at a time before the internet, the bubble burst, and before smartphones, which is the reason why those businesses really took off for Facebook. Good timing. So all of those experiences led to my being a county supervisor, and I worked very hard to do the best possible job I could do for this county.
That's good.
Yeah, that's a lot of experiences, from
and
sweeping floors
your favorite?
to being county supervisor.
Being county supervisor.
Yeah, that's just such a privilege and an opportunity, and of course a responsibility. I take all three of those very serious.
Presley, do you have a question? Another one?
Yes, I do. Which would you prefer, fishing by yourself or playing football with a big group?
Football, hands down, big group. We always do that. This year, because of my surgery, I couldn't, but we do the Saturday before Christmas. We always do the big family football game, flag football game. So that'll be next year. You and I will be playing.
Yes,
so
and it's a family tradition.
Yeah,
for
family and friends. We all get together and go play football, and usually it's always fun. But sometimes if it's rainy and muddy, then it gets even funner. So slipping and sliding and falling and getting all messed up. That's always fun. So give me, let's see. What's the hardest thing about being a kid? 8 years old. What's the hardest thing about being a kid?
How many can I name?
Well, how many hard things do you have about being a kid? And brushing teeth is not part of it.
First, for chores, I have to do chores, and I like cleaning and dusting, but taking out the garbage smells, and I don't really like doing that.
That's the worst part about being a kid is your chores and taking out garbage?
Yeah, and then also listening. Yeah.
Listening is bad part about being a kid?
Yep, listening.
Because, why, you want to be the boss?
Yes, I do.
That takes time and experience, young lady. And at 8 years old, you're not. That's why you want it. That's why you're so happy with the little brother. That's it right there. You're happy with the little brother because you want to be the boss over somebody.
No.
I think so. What do you think, Ted?
I think I think you've hit the nail on that.
That's why she's like, yes, finally I get seniority. Because before you had Taylor, your older sister, and then you were the little low one on the totem pole.
No,
then with the little brother, you get to be a boss.
No, I love having the responsibility to take care of him, and he's just so loving. He's a great brother.
Yeah.
I love him.
Okay. I still think you like to be boss over somebody.
I do not.
Okay, well, we'll see. All right, how about if you could make one rule for the world to follow, what rule would you make and why?
Okay, so say that question again.
Well, actually, you kind of said that one before, for everybody to be kind to animals and stuff. This is just another one that I had written down. Okay, so how about this? Where is your favorite place in the world that you've been that you would just love to go to?
That I've been.
Favorite place in the world?
New York, and I'd say New York.
New York City when we go there?
Uh-huh.
Why? What do you like about that?
Because we have family there first, and it's just a great experience to go there. And you grew up there. My grandpa grew up there, and my grandma grew up there. And it's just a great experience to go back and see where you guys lived and where my grandpa went to school. And it's great to see the old things that are still there. Of course, the Statue of Liberty. And we went somewhere else last time we went to the Statue of Liberty.
Ellis Island.
Yes,
where all
Ellis
the immigrants,
Island.
where our family immigrated through.
Yes, and we got to see my great-great-grandpa. Learn about him.
A couple of great-great-grandpas' names and how they came in, how much money they had. And one was a doctor, Dr. Brunetta.
And
the
that
other,
was just a great experience
for
me.
Yeah, it was. And then Charles, let's see, it was Antonio Paternostro was your poppy's entry. That was his name. So
she really loves New York City. You know, I'll start spreading the news.
So singing it like Frank Sinatra, which is one of the great all-time great songs. So then, give me 5 words that would describe you.
Okay. Kind, caring, loving, sassy.
Oh, we'll get out that way. Wait, time. Why don't we start with that one?
And
kind, loving, caring, sassy, and
honest.
And honest. Well, that's a good one. That's why you had to put in the sassy, because you are honest. So, what about that sassy thing? How much of that are we getting these days?
1 out of 10, probably a 7.
Yeah, a 7 on sassy.
Yeah.
Wow, you must be worse at your mom's house than you are mine, because if I get 1 sassy, I send you to your room. I said, tell the sassy Pressley to stay in the bedroom and come back out with the happy, fun, friendly Pressley.
It just bursts out. It's like there's another person inside of me.
Yeah, well, that other person is going to start enjoying Tabasco.
In other words, Dad likes the kind Pressley who wants to save stranded animals in the middle of the road.
Yeah, that's the one we want.
Yeah.
All right, so then do you have a question for me?
I do. Were you nervous about talking to girls as a teenager?
Oh, goodness, yes. Absolutely. Who isn't? Yeah, of course, because you grow up and only having an older sister that's doesn't really teach you how to talk to girls that you might like. So what I learned is to be friends with everybody. And then by being friends, you got to be around them, be comfortable, and learn how to communicate about different things that you had in common. And even if you didn't like somebody, you could be friends with them, and then they'll introduce you to more and more friends. So I just learned to be friends with everybody without the pressure of only knowing or talking to who I liked.
Good.
So yeah, that was my way to deal with that.
So, did you ever have a low point as a teenager? How did you get through it?
That's a really a serious question. So, did I ever have a low point as a teenager?
How did you get through it?
And how did I get through it? Okay. So a low point as a teenager, of course, everybody does. You're going to have highs and lows, and you're going to have emotional things that are difficult and disappointing and challenging. And so absolutely, you're going to have that. And I did, like everybody and anybody else. But you also realize that, as bad as I feel, if somebody else could deal with it, then so can I. Like as much as much as a broken heart can hurt, somebody else experienced it and they survived, so can I. So I kind of just realized that whatever it is going to be passing, because I always felt like tomorrow's a new day. Even if something didn't get necessarily better right away, I knew tomorrow was a new day and there was a new opportunity to make it better. And then you start to learn, like, something that's really got you down. This is what I kind of learned early on, is if I thought back, let's say when I'm 14 years old, I'd think back like, gosh, when I was 13, I was really so troubled. Then at 14, you look back like, that was nothing. And like you might be thinking, I've got big troubles now. And then when you're 15, you look back and you go, that was nothing. I got through that. That was easy. So there's always challenges. There's always going to be disappointments, and there's always things you need to work on to make better. And life is just part of that.
So that's how you got through it. You just said, okay. You just were easy about it? It is what it is, and I'm going to deal with it. Of course, I had a faith in God, and I had a faith that there's always going to be something better. Even though there's a challenge, I know I can get through it and make it better. So I always had that attitude that I could get through it and make it better. That's a good attitude.
Yeah.
Can I ask you one more?
Sure.
Okay. So tell me about a leader who impacted your life for good when you were a kid.
That's another really good question. You have good questions that you've chosen for me, Pressley. A leader that's impacted my life when I was a kid.
Yes.
I could tell you that there was teachers that resonated, that were just outstanding. One of them was a STAG teacher named Floyd Oler. But I'd say in addition to the teachers that were very, very important, and I could name off multitudes of them, and teachers are so important for us. Also coaches. When you do sports, I've had really great coaches, and I've had coaches that weren't so dedicated or very, very good with kids. Even though I appreciate that they were dedicated and that they spent time. But I remember that I had a coach that, and they always had a winning team. Their team always came in first because they knew how to create winning attitudes, and it was infectious. So as a coach, they would make you feel good, and they'd make you play better and reward you so that you were accomplishing higher and higher goals for yourself, even if you weren't the best player on the team, but you had the chance to be recognized and rise as you performed and earned. It wasn't just given. You had to earn that opportunity for praise. So some of those coaches that I had growing up were just fantastic.
Good. That's great.
Yeah, that was my big experiences. So how about, of all the things you're learning, what do you think will be most useful as an adult?
Of all the things I'm learning, what would be most useful as an adult?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you have an office, like you mentioned in a question earlier I asked you. Your dad my grandpa started a sign business, and then he did signs and crane.
Correct.
So you took over the crane business.
Yes.
And I'm working there right now.
We're not breaking any child labor laws. You're just spending time at the office. Yes.
You gave me a little office.
Yes.
That I have my own.
We call it a sitting room with a phone and a desk.
And a computer.
No computer.
And I answer calls for it, and I think that would be good for me when I grow up, so I know how to treat customers when I have a business and just people.
And that's a great answer. And I also remember this last year during summer when we're busy with the cranes, Kim, my office manager, had given you a list of some clients, some of our customers to call. And what were you doing when you called them?
I did a survey on how our business was going, and all of them said great.
Yeah, and what we were kind of asking, how's business going, and how is our services for you?
Yes.
And you were getting back positive answers, right?
Yes.
Good. So that's important to reach out to your customers, check in with them, and see if we can do something additional or better even, right? That's good. And I like that. That was a good survey that you did. Let's see. How about, here's a good one. Are you a good friend, and why would you think so?
I think yes, because I help my friends when they get hurt, or sometimes when girls get in fights with each other, they come to me and they ask me, can you help me with this?
To kind of sort it out?
Yeah, and they tell me what's going on, and I sort of give them advice. And they trust me with a lot of stuff. So, yes, I'd say I was a good friend.
That's good. And you're pretty fair then, right?
Yes.
So if they come to you, two people come to you, they know you're being fair.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good quality to have. And then how about this one? Here's a good school question. Would you cheat on a test if you knew you would not get caught? Why or why not?
No, I would not cheat on a test because, first, it's not fair to the other kids. And second, that's just unfair, and I'm honest. Like I said before, I would not do that. I would never do that.
Yeah.
I've caught somebody else cheating on my test before.
Yeah.
But I've never cheated on anybody else's test, and I never will.
I like that. That's good. That's a good quality. That's part of being honest, and that's showing that you have character to be responsible for your studying and your own grade score. That's really good. I appreciate that.
And it's fair to the other students, your friends in class. That's great.
Yes.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, what do you have for me?
So how did you decide which career to choose?
Oh, gosh. How did I decide which career to choose? You know what? Even when I was little, since working with my dad, as I mentioned, so I always knew I'd grow up and own a business. That was my first thing, first and foremost. Then I deviated a little bit from that when I had a sports ambition. And that was all fine. That was, real good. And then I've always been driven to accomplish things that were challenging. So, again, if you look back and you go from my first and biggest pursuit was boxing. And then I got into the entertainment business, then business itself, the business that I own and worked and built up. And then lastly is now getting into local politics. So those are all kind of challenges to succeed, and I enjoy those. I enjoy challenges because I'm one to persevere, and no matter how difficult or how challenging something may be, I'm going to accomplish it. My goal.
Okay, so I have another question for you. This is my favorite question. What was your reaction when you found out you would be a dad?
What was my reaction when I found out I was going to be a dad? Well, your mom and I were hopeful and, of course, planning on having a child. And when we found out that we were going to be expecting, I was so excited. Guess what? I didn't sleep the entire night. I was awake the entire night. And in the middle of the night, I got up and wrote a little poem to you.
I still have that poem.
Yeah, well, every now and again I show it to you on the computer because I wrote out something, and it really was it was all about you, this responsibility, but who you're going to be. Because what happened was we saw a little heartbeat, your little heartbeat, and I was thinking, wow, life starts with that heartbeat, and life will finish with a final heartbeat. But what are you going to be doing with that life? Will you have a significant life? Will you have an impacting life? I would hope you to be engaged in your community and working to make life better because you're here versus a quiet, timid soul that might be hesitant to get involved. So that's kind of what the poem was about. And that's really what I feel my responsibility is, to help raise a responsible, engaged, and not only a caring person, but a person that gets involved to make something better. So, yeah, that was it was very exciting.
Yes.
Yep, and a big responsibility. And then you came along. And you are truly the joy. One of my favorite questions you asked me a couple of years ago, Pressley, we're having breakfast, and you said, okay, tell the truth. You're a guy, and I'm a little girl. Would you have rather have a little boy, or would you rather have had a daughter or a son? And I thought for a moment, I said, that you obviously, that was on your mind for you to ask. And then I reflected. It's the first time I ever thought about that. And I said, well, tell you the truth, Pressley, boys are fun. You do sports and they're rough and tumble and ready to rumble, as we would say. But I kind of thought how sweet and adorable and fun little girls are. And so considering all that, I said, I remember telling you then that having a little girl has been that much better because, of course, with a boy, you do the sports and all the rough and tumble stuff. But with a little girl, I got to learn how to put ponytails in your hair. And we watch all the princess movies then when you were really liking them growing up. And we got to do, as a guy, I got to do things with you that were girly and cutesy and fun that I wouldn't get a chance to do with a little boy. Mm-hmm. So having a little girl has just been really special to me.
Can I say or sing what we say with boys and girls?
Sure.
Okay. So girls are sugar and spice and everything nice.
Yep.
And boys are rough and tumble and ready to rumble.
Yep.
That's our saying, and Dad made it up.
And it's pretty true, right? Because you always see boys like just rough and tumbling around, and like you have a little brother Luke, and
yes.
And we saw little Taylor's little brother, your sister's brother up in Sacramento, Cody. I mean, talk about rough and tumble and ready to rumble. Those two boys, right?
Yeah.
Pretty funny. Okay.
So.
Well, go ahead, Pressley.
Ted.
No, Pressley.
Presley.
Right
Ted. Presley. Ted. Presley. Presley. Ted.
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 Okay.
Ted.
I was actually going to say
Presley.
Actually, I was going to say we are getting close to the end. So, Presley, do you have a final question you would like to ask Dad?
What do you appreciate most about your parents?
Oh boy, how selfless they are. How much they give to their family. How absolutely fantastic they've been. Just truly selfless, very giving, very loving, and very supportive in any endeavor that I've ever done. They've had the attitude of, if you work hard, you can accomplish. And so I appreciate that greatly about that. And I often say this, and I believe it to be true. When you see how many challenges are out there for some people, being born with the parents I have is my lottery in life. That's how I really got lucky. I don't care about hundreds and millions of dollars or anything. I care about that I was lucky enough to have such a wonderful mother and father that set so many good examples and gave as much as they could and more to their family, and considering the fact that they came from nothing. They didn't have anything growing up. So
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. So is that the last question, Ted? Are we on short on time?
We are running short on time, but let me just say that 2 years ago at this time, Tom had assembled a campaign leadership team when he was running for local office, the office that he holds now. And 2 years ago at this time, Tom and I and others were just completely bummed out. One of our opponents had got the appointment to the county board of supervisors, the position that Tom was running for. And it did not look good for us at that time, at least those first few days when we got the news that he was not going to be appointed to the Board of Supervisors. And then to couple out, to make that even worse, he was named chair of the Board of Supervisors. So we not only were running to get a great guy, Moses Apian's a great local Stocktonian who's contributed a lot to our community. But those first 2 weeks of 2016, it was not looking very good. And we just persevered. We had to fight that much harder to make it happen for your dad to win that election. I'm just thinking back on New Year's Eve of going into 2016, because we got the news on December 31st.
Yeah.
Uh,
If you remember that day, and it was not a good way to ring in 2016. But we picked ourselves up and just had to work. We were already working hard, but we just had to work that much harder.
Well, you know what? It was a challenge, and I like challenges. So
you
it's one of
must,
those ones
because you stepped it up big time.
Yeah, we rose to the occasion. I didn't want that to get me down. You just
Right.
looked at us, okay, well, this is my challenge, and we go forward. Yes, Presley?
I'd just like to say something super quick. May
Okay.
I? I'd just like to say how grateful I am for such a wonderful family.
Mm-hmm.
My grandma is awesome. She's just so loving and caring. And my grandpa is awesome. My Zia, which is my aunt, my
Mm-hmm.
Uncle Ron, my family is just awesome. And Pop, he is my and Pop. He is my grandfather.
Right.
And Poppy is my grandpa is just a wonderful grandpa, and I really appreciate having a great family.
Absolutely. Well, you do have a very good family.
And also my mom.
Yeah. Now, I care about you. Your whole family cares about you a great deal, but I know there's one person that cares about you. I mean, like, she's super cautious and super protective. So you're pretty lucky to have a mom that's as caring as that.
Yes.
Yeah. And she's a good cook. What else? What else does mommy do really good for you?
She gives me wonderful dinners. She healthy, of course. She cooks very well. She cleans. We have a 3-story house, and she cleans all of it. She does the laundry. My sister, my brother, and me, she gives us meals that are healthy, good, and it's just, I'm very grateful to have a mom, dad, and my whole family to be just such a great family.
You have many, many blessings. I know you just finished Christmas with many gifts and blessings from both sides of your families, all your family. So we are very, very lucky in that regard. That's for sure.
Yes.
So...
No,
Ted,
go ahead.
Where are we at? So, well, it is a brand new year, and it's 1 year down since being supervisor, which has been such a privilege. And with every year comes new laws. There's one law. Being a dad with my daughter in the studio, I am so thrilled that they have on the books. And there's a lot of laws you can disagree with, and this oversight, too much heavy-handedness, and too much regulation. But one of them is baby changing tables are required in all restrooms, including men's.
That's incredible. That's a new California state law.
It's a California law. And let me tell you,
ago.
Being a single dad, having a child that you have to take somewhere and to walk into, oftentimes the men's rooms can be quite dirty or disgusting outright. And to have a clean place that you can lay down your baby to change is just beyond the best thing that you could find as a dad, because you're so, at the moment you've got to go change a diaper and you don't know what you're going to find when you walk into the men's room. So to have a clean changing table, that's one law I can say was well put together and proportioned, voted on and all.
Outstanding. Do you have any plans for 2018?
My 2018 is refinement. I want to be, whatever I do, I want to do that much better. So that's what I'm about for 2018, refinement. Presley, do you have a 2018 resolution?
I have a couple.
A couple?
Yes.
Well, let's make at least one stick. Give us one good one.
Okay. Well, of course, not being sassy anymore.
That'd be
Trying
good.
not to do that. And
Don't try. What's Yoda say?
No. I can't do it backwards. He says it backwards. I can't do it backwards.
Try not, do, you must. Something like that, right?
Do not. Or do not. There is no try.
There you go. Ooh, there you go. See, the Governor Don knows do or do not. There is no try. I like that. Do or do not. There is no try. That was Ted, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, so not be sassy, and what else? What's the
and then to do more chores, of course, and to just be more independent. At my age, I have to start working harder and putting in more effort to a lot of other stuff.
Excellent. And Ted, how about you? What's your New Year's going to bring?
I have a great roster of clients and people that I'm working with and who are on the ballot in 2018 for a variety of offices in California and elsewhere. And my goal is to get each and every one of them elected to the positions that they are seeking.
You're going to be busy in 2018. It is an election cycle.
It is, yes.
All right, well, I thank everybody for joining us. Governor Don, as always, you are our engineer, and you're the lifeline of this great show. So thank you for this opportunity for everybody to have a show that works at this KXVS. So thank you, buddy, and look forward to this next year and all that it brings with all of you. So thank you all. This is Tom Patti, a San Joaquin County supervisor. Join us weekly for our local reality show. We talk about all things local, political, current, and real. Join us on KXVS, the voice of Stockton. Okay.